It's hoped that El Nino that's developed in the Pacific Ocean will help alleviate the drought conditions in the western United States. Looking to the future was on the minds of many of those who testified before a U.S. Senate subcommittee hearing. Market to Market's Mike Pearson reports.
Western drought took center stage at a Senate subcommittee hearing on the opposite coast, where 57% of the region is experiencing moderate to severe drought. Lawmakers asked the panel of state and federal officials coping with arid conditions from Mexico to Canada what is working and what needs attention. Some of the region has been locked in drought for the past 15 years. Agriculture's consumption of water in California is said by many to be as much as 80% of the precious resource. But the Golden State's Department of Water Resources breaks down the use to 10% urban, 40% agriculture, and the balance for environmental management of wetlands, delta outflow, wild and scenic designations, and in-stream flow.
It's very important to me that we look at responding to the long-term changes that are before us and the ways that we do business in managing water in the midst of this major crisis, and that we think about the paradigm shift that is in front of us as we face these warmer seasons. We need to develop 21st century strategies for water management that not only respond to the drought conditions of today, but prepare us for an uncertain future. This requires new ways of thinking and collaboration, which means exploring all options, not just incremental change at this point in time.
Low levels in Lakes Powell and Meade have a ripple effect on those dependent on the supply for everything from drinking water to hydroelectric power generation. And Arizona officials are looking for alternatives to quench their thirst for what is rapidly becoming a valuable commodity in the West.
Lower basin states, including Arizona, are help funding weather modification, cloud seeding in the upper basin to try to increase the flows there. We also are looking at potential desalination of brackish groundwater within our state.
If you can't create water from the sky, that leaves only so much of the precious resource to go around.
Water conservation is not going to create a new supply for a new demand, but it certainly can lead to saving water, be able to putting that in storage, maintaining flexibility in the situation.
In the past 2 years, California officials have made mandatory cuts of as much as 36% in water consumption. Dozens of farmers in the nation's top agricultural state are trying to meet voluntary water conservation targets. The growers submitted a proposal to plant less thirsty crops and leave some fields fallow due to what seems to be a never-ending drought. The plan calls for idling up to 25% of their land and implementing other strategies to achieve the necessary savings. Some Golden State producers are already trying to keep efficiencies high in their operation.
Well, California, because of the regulatory climate, we use every resource as carefully as we absolutely can. So we have an incentive just based on our cost of production to always use things as carefully as possible. We've installed drip irrigation on over 60% of our farm. So I think it's important, as you mentioned, not only to look at the very large projects, but also find ways to incentivize local efforts and work in collaboration with the Bureau and the federal agencies to help that along.